Michael Landesberg is a renowned chef and general manager of the highly acclaimed Jackson Hall American Bar and Grill in East Islip, Long Island. But Michael is also a courageous breast cancer survivor and a public advocate for breast cancer in both men and women. At the age of 46, he was diagnosed with HER2-positive breast cancer. He also underwent genetic testing and discovered that he carries both the BRCA2 and CHEK2 gene mutations. What you are about to hear is Michael in full force. His story saves lives, educates others, and brings great awareness about how cancer happens from the perspective of someone who underwent the major battle to survive.
So my name is Michael Landesberg. I'm currently 50 years old. I was diagnosed with HER2-positive breast cancer at the age of 46. At the time, I thought that all breast cancers were the same. You hear, first of all, you don't hear about it in men as much. And, and there's different types of breast cancer. And some are very fast growing, some are very slow growing. And the type that I had was it was a very aggressive, fast growing cancer, where if I didn't have a mastectomy, I had 1 year to live. And what people don't always understand is you don't die from breast cancer. You die from metastatic breast cancer. And that's when it spreads via the lymphatic system, and it starts to spread to other parts of your body. And that's when there really is no cure for metastatic breast cancer. Now we're talking about just making the patient comfortable. And it really gets very tricky. So really, the reason I advocate, and it's so important to me, is because I'm very fortunate that I caught it early. And because I advocate and I talk about breast cancer and I talk about the genetics and the mutations of the different mutated genes, I also have the BRCA2 as well as the CHEK2, CHEK2, which puts you at higher risk. Doesn't mean that you can't get cancer if you don't have these mutated genes, but you're now all of a sudden you're predisposed. And because I had the testing done, I was able to save numerous lives, including my sister, who also happened to have the same genetics as myself. You're born with the gene or you're not. But if you do have the genetics, now you can be proactive. Knowledge is power. So, okay, now you have, so she found out, she's like, oh, now I have it. I'm like, no, not now you have it. You've always had it. Now you know that you have it. And now you can be proactive. And now you can go for testing and screening. Just because you beat cancer, whether you're in remission or you're NED, no evidence of disease, such as I am, which pretty much means that the cancer never spread. It was in the tissue, they cut it out. At that point, you are NED. Doesn't mean that cancer cannot come back. Doesn't mean that you cannot get breast cancer again. It's really important to continue going for your scanning, your testing. I still go for my mammograms. I still go for my sonograms. I still do checks myself, because just because you're cancer-free today does not mean it cannot come back, especially if you have one of these mutated genes, as I do.
Cancer cells hide from the immune system and they can escape treatments. And for reasons we don't fully understand, they get activated to start growing again. We now have ways where we can improve our treatment to reduce the risk of recurrence.
What we've known for a long time is most cancer recurrence is because either they didn't get the entire tumor out, or they got most of the tumor out but missed the active cells that were resistant to the treatment. In other words, while the cancer is a mass, parts of it are resistant to treatment or go into hiding to fight the treatment. Cancers they're live. They see they're being attacked, so they go into hiding. That's why various things don't touch them.
The chances for a man and woman developing other cancers, especially if you have the BRCA gene, are increased. So what percentage? It's approximately 20%. And it's 20% for pancreatic cancer, colon cancer. There's a chance, ovarian cancer, again, if you're a woman, is around 40%. So the chances for every other type of cancer increase. And it's really important to be vigilant and go for your colonoscopies every 5 years. I go for my prostate exam every year. It's because you don't want it to come back, especially when breast cancer returns. It's not good. If it comes back, especially if it metastasizes, that's when it's unfortunately the chances of survival are very slim. The average metastatic breast cancer patient lives about 3.2 years. So this is why you really want to continue to go for screenings and checkups and not become complacent. Some people don't realize that if you have the genes, because at first I didn't even understand, why am I going for genetic testing? I already have cancer. What's the difference? If you have siblings, if you have children, they have a 50% chance of having the same genetics. And you can also help to save their lives. In my sister's case, she was stage 0, which I'd never even heard of, which means it was just in the milk duct. It never spread to the tissue. So she still needed a double mastectomy and hysterectomy. And why a hysterectomy? Because if you have the BRCA gene, as a female, you have an 87% chance of developing breast cancer and a 40% ovarian. So they usually recommend doing the hysterectomy and the double mastectomy. As a man, I know that the stats keep changing. I know 4 years ago it was 1 in 1,000. Last year it was 1 in 833. I think it's like 1 in 783 now for the chances of a man to develop breast cancer. Now, if you have the BRCA gene, all of a sudden it's 1 in 10. Another thing people don't realize is that 1 in 40 Ashkenazi Jews have the BRCA gene. So this is why I'm very vocal. This is why I speak out about it, because I know not everybody listens, but if at least one person listens to my message and takes it serious, and you can save one life, I've done my job.